members. We had one that was sick today and another one as well, it sounds like later on in the day, so I apologize for that. So we're not gonna be able to vote on anything at this time, but we can definitely get to the point where we can kind of give them a refresher when they do come in the next meeting. So we'll just kind of go down the list, we're gonna bounce around a little bit, the meeting minutes we'll hold off for now. We'll go right into the notice of intent, filed by McCarthy Engineering for Gardner Municipal Golf Course on 152 and 154 Eaton Street. Did anybody get to represent McCarthy?
Justin Leclerc, McCarthy Engineering. Also with me tonight, Bill Frank, Facilities Manager for the Gardner Golf Course.
Why does Mike never come to the meetings? Is he not like here anymore or something?
Mike?
Mackenzie.
Oh, no.
Just joking.
I was gonna say, I'm like, hold on, wrong one. So, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Douglas, first face to face. So we're here tonight to propose replacing the existing pipe that feeds the pump house located on the 11th fairway. So this pump house feeds the entire irrigation system for the Gardner Golf Course. The existing pipe is a 12-inch corrugated metal pipe. It's about 50-60 feet in length. At this time, it's really in poor condition. It's broken apart, it's corroding, pieces are missing of it. So the golf course is looking to replace it with same size 12-inch HDPE pipe in kind. So just take out the existing one, put in the HDPE pipe. One thing to note is when you're here at the pump house, the pipe is located about 7 feet below grade because it feeds into a wet well that the pumps then take the water out and then send it off to the golf course. So from here, we'd be digging down about 7 feet, but as we come out approximately to the limit of this gray hatch here, it comes back out to grade. So there's a section of it that will be down 7 feet at the deepest, and then as we get further out into the lake, we're gradually coming up less and less and less until we're at the bottom of the lake bed, and then at that point, the pipe would just be laid at the bottom of the lake bed as it is now. Because of this work and the fact that Crystal Lake is an outstanding resource water, we have to file 401 water quality cert. That was DEP's only comment, and I did speak to them regarding that. And their recommendation was to get the order of condition first for the work because as part of their submission requirement, they require the order of condition. So that's why we're here tonight. As part of the work, we'd be proposing either an aqua barrier or an improved alternative depending on what the contractor has available. But what we've seen for other projects is almost like the oversized sandbags to dam up this portion here at the edge of the inlet that comes in here. That way the contractor can drain out that section, dig down, be able to replace that. We're proposing a construction in stockpile staging area here. We have our erosion control then wrap around the top of the bank before the rocks, as well as over here. And then during all construction phases, we would be protecting these two trees, which are pretty much standalone pines that are next to the pump house. So with that, if you have any questions.
Yeah, so in other words, you're just doing our maintenance. I mean, you're not adding or subtracting anything.
No.
Taking the old pipe out.
Yeah, you're replacing it. It's just a little bit more involved because we do have to dig a little bit into the lake.
Yeah, I realize that.
Yeah.
The maintenance project.
Yeah.
You got a rotten pipe, you wanna get rid of the rotten pipe, put a new pipe.
Something that lasts a little bit longer.
Where are the sandbags coming from?
It would depend on what the contractor can get. I know the last one we worked with, it was Palstone and Gravel that did a culvert replacement in Lunenburg. So of course they had the material that they could use. I would expect a local contractor.
Yeah, well, I guess I'm questioning if the bags pop open, what type of soils have been tested or anything certified. If you're gonna drink, that's our drinking water, obviously. Yeah. So we also wanna make sure.
The clean material.
Right.
Yeah, I would expect if it comes from, I mean, local areas, obviously Powell, Graves, anywhere like that, they test their material.
Yeah, well, we need to get confirmation that they do that.
Yeah, I think that'd be something easily a contractor could get you a report of what their material is.
And we all remember the beach, right? Well, people went and bought certified beach sand then couldn't prove that it was
Yeah.
clean,
Cost us $2,800 too.
you had to prove.
That's an easy question, once we get a hold of the contractor, depending who it is, first question, what do you put in the water?
Yeah, and the bags need to be cleaned and all that
Yeah.
good stuff.
And one of the reasons in the notice of intent package, I proposed the aqua barrier,
Yeah,
is because it's not material.
exactly,
That's our preferred option, that's why we say it on the plan.
yeah,
Obviously, for whatever reason, the contractor can't get it, or it's not, whatever comes up, we just don't want them to get stuck that while you're out of luck. So we just give them that, a little bit of leeway for an approved alternative.
okay. And what's the duration that soil is gonna be left open while you're doing the replacement? I mean, obviously you're gonna be able, how many feet is that total that you're digging, lengthwise? Does it say on here?
Yeah, it's about 121 square feet, and the volume's about 31.5 cubic yards. And I would say that's a little bit of a conservative estimate, because I took the limit pretty much up to where it opens up the Crystal Lake. From what we could tell, that pipe kind of gets exposed a little bit sooner in the inlet, but we just wanted to be worst case scenario,
Yeah.
close off at the inlet. So, like I said, it's about 121 square feet that we'd be disturbing. Probably a couple days to excavate that open. I believe the sub that we reached out to for the pipe said it maybe a couple days worth to get that pipe in.
So you gotta be exposed for a couple days between starting and finishing?
This section, I would think
More than
so.
that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to get to, yeah. And what are you gonna do to protect the sides? You've got this erosion control up front, but what about the sides?
You're talking down.
Yeah, is there any reason to put it on there?
So this is all large boulders and
Yeah, I
rocks.
see that on your drawing, yeah.
So ideally that should be able to keep it stabilized there. If we need to, obviously we can run the erosion control down a little bit more. The other thing is that this work would commence ideally in the off season for the golf course when the lake level is a little bit lower. So it won't be full to the berm when we start doing this work.
When do you propose to do it?
You've got two options, before the golf season or after.
The way.
Spring or fall, and we talked about that originally, and said, if we can't get it done way before Mother Nature says you need water, then call it November.
Yeah.
So I go conservative and say, call it November.
Yeah, ideally the fall. By the time that we get the 401 submitted to the state, we go through the process with them. It'll probably be too close to the start golf season for them to start this work.
Yeah.
So we'd be looking end of golf season, so like about November.
You don't wanna make the golfers mad.
No.
What's the pipe made of right now?
Corrugated metal pipe. And
Yeah,
Technology, you should see some of the holes in it, like, you can put a foot through it.
yep. And when Bill took me out there to see it, just standing at the edge here, what you could see through the water, you could see the chunks that were missing.
Yeah.
My guess is when they originally did this back in the day, they just threw the
I was
pipe
on
in
the
and
commission when
said.
that was done.
Were you? So,
I've been-
So they just put the pipe in and
I've
said,
been here
good.
forever.
Just done in April.
They just did. Yeah.
okay.
Actually.
Do you have any questions? Or just,
You went out there, Doug?
Yeah, it was a couple weeks ago, but yeah, I did see the pump house and walk it with Bill.
And just for you, I do have
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, just, I mean, relatively straightforward, it's not like a particularly, I mean, it was January, but it wasn't like a particularly, robust kind of DPW area, it's just kind of, right in the immediate shallow.
See them at a certain time, not about.
so where you're stockpiling the soil, what's the elevation of that? It's kinda hard to see. I'm getting old.
So you're pretty much at 1100, 1099, which is the top of the bank. And then from there, it's 3 to 1, maybe a little steeper in certain parts down. So the erosion control would be on the backside of the construction staging area. we're just proposing your basic straw wattle silt fence.
You digging it down?
Yep.
No, you're digging down the erosion control on the detail up in the upper left?
Yeah, so it gets staked into the ground, that way it doesn't move, we don't have any washouts.
Yeah, I wouldn't use straw, we're trying to get rid of doing the straw deal.
The wattles or
Yeah,
the hay
straw.
bales?
Both,
Both.
yeah.
Does the commission have a preference?
We can look what we've been asking other people to use, but we're just trying to get rid of it altogether.
Yeah.
I don't think you want that anyways, but. And then,
The only thing I have is, I think we need an exact date for, you know, if you wanna do it in the fall, but give us a date, when you start and when you stop.
Okay.
the other thing I think, you know, the water department should be notified of the work, if
Yeah.
they didn't already. But obviously we can't vote on anything, so it's not worth going that.
No, but at least iron out the details, that's.
Yeah. And then, you know, spill kits for the equipment, you know, pig kits close by at all times, everybody says they have them. I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna show up there, and if they don't have them, shut them down.
Sure.
Cause that happened on the last one, right next to the Elks. I
Yeah,
said I was coming, and they're like, yeah, okay, and I showed up and they didn't have them.
and you're talking the parking area that they just built?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then I know you guys are good over there at the course, but it's not you guys, it's the operators. They need to be trained in what they need to do if they have, you know, hydraulic leaks, and which I know your drivers all do, but a little different crew here.
Yep.
And are you gonna be on site when they do this work, or how's that?
So I know Bill will be on site,
Absolutely.
I'll be on call, I'll come in and see what's going on periodically. So if there's any issues, we'll immediately take care of it.
Yeah.
And then obviously the commission will be able to go on site.
So I think that's something Norman should definitely take a peek at.
No,
Was Norman there when you put it in?
no,
I'm being serious, he was a tenant and superintendent there, wasn't he?
no.
Norman wasn't?
Mike-
Oh, no, Mike Hermanson got
Mike
it.
Hermanson.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he's in Maine right now, we call him.
I'd like to have him be there, that'd be great. All right, I don't have any other questions, anybody else?
Just regarding the start and stop date, right now, we're in the process of getting contractors to bid on it.
Yeah.
So we'll be able to give you one, but not until we finalize.
Yeah, even if you get to in advance, you send an email out
Yeah,
to Doug.
Okay,
That's huge.
That's perfect, that's fine.
okay.
Because we've shut down the irrigation system in October, and then we've shut it down in December in certain years. Mother Nature totally dictates when we start it up and when we put it to bed.
Yeah,
So a couple of weeks is awesome, thank you.
When, now, go back, what were we talking, 2 weeks to do it?
Yeah, I think when we had spoke to Reggie, the sub, he said a couple weeks at most to get this done. And again, the most work is just for the excavation, this part here, or the net, it's laying the pipe.
where's he gonna park his equipment while he's digging?
So the most room that we have is up on this side over here. Ideally, I'd like him to stay on this side, it's a little bit tighter over here with the trees and everything.
Okay.
So, keeping the most open area. Obviously, if we need to, we'll extend the silt fence as required. The other thing, I know commission can't vote tonight, we're within your 30-foot no touch, so as part of that, we'll be requesting a waiver for work within the.
Well, this is maintenance, so it's a little different.
Okay.
It's pretty starved, obviously.
Yeah, and that's, I just wanted to make sure that if I had to ask for it, I'll ask for it.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
You know,
We,
Continue.
We can't vote on anything.
what's the 170 North Street?
Still a DCR.
All right.
Next on the notice of intent is filed by David Ross Associates for Robert Lapierre, 122, 128 Wampanoag.
Yes.
Do your homework.
Oh, Jesus, look at this. Oh,
Good evening, Brandon Ducharme with David E. Ross, here tonight with Bob and Cheryl up here, the owners. And we filed a notice of intent for work at 128 Wampanoag Road, South Road. The property is right off of Wampanoag South Road. This is Lake Wampanoag here at the slope, basically continues downward towards the lake here. It's about a half-acre site that has an existing dwelling here. This is a dirt access road that has an existing driveway that comes down to the front of the building here. One of the driving things with this property is to get an on-site septic solution as well as a potable water supply. The applicant was actually before the commission last year looking to do some maintenance on this property after acquiring it. A lot of that was done through an RDA that was filed to remove some trees in and around the building and on the property. As part of that process, when we were hired, we went out and we delineated the wetland resource areas at the site. And obviously we've got the lake here, which you can kind of see the edge in blue that has an associated bordering vegetated wetland, which is shown in green. And then there's an existing culvert that crosses the gravel access road here that goes to a small little pond, almost like a forebay. And then there's a stream that kind of meanders down through here and empties into the lake. What we've done is obviously we've delineated the wetland that's associated with that intermittent stream. And as you look at that wetland line there, we've got a couple of things I'll point out. This kind of dotted line here demarks the 30-foot offset. We also have the 60-foot wetland offset that encompasses about half of the existing dwelling, and then the 100-foot buffer zone. As you look at the impacts that those offsets have on the property, it really only leaves a small portion of the property here that's outside the 100-foot buffer zone. We went out and we obviously focused on this area for the septic system. We did a couple of test holes here, did a perk test, and looked at doing a Title V compliant septic system based on the elevation of the high groundwater and the size of the lot. When we put a traditional pipe and stone trench system, it was actually a pretty large amount in this area that would have required retaining walls to keep the fill that's required for that leaching system on the property. So what we did was we've actually employed a geomat system, which is a little different technology. It's a gravelless system, and since it is higher in elevation, it was going to be a pump system anyway, and we incorporated pressure distribution into that. And what that allows us to do is essentially a standard system. You've got your leaching facility, your breakout grading is about 15 feet off, and then it goes down to 3 to 1. By doing the pressure distribution with this technology, we could really minimize the size of that mound that's associated with it. It brings that breakout grading in from 15 feet to 2 feet, and it allowed us to keep the grading on the property. The other thing is we needed a potable water supply. So what we proposed is a drilled well to be on the property, and working with Gardner's local Board of Health regulations as well as Title V state. We've kind of situated everything to meet those requirements. We've gone before the Board of Health and got approval for the system and the well location as shown on this plan. In going through this process and through the notice of intent, working with the owner, the applicant, we're incorporating any other improvements to the property. The existing dwelling here is in disrepair, so part of this is to rehabilitate the existing structure. Bob can certainly go into more detail about what needs to happen with the rehabilitation of that house, but it's an existing stone foundation that needs to be improved. In the process of bringing this up to building code, it requires a modification of the footprint, and what we've done is we've shown this
Well, wait a minute, what is, why is the building code telling you different on the footprint of the building? How does it explain?
So
that?
just internally, in order to bring the structure up to code, there's just certain requirements with sizes of rooms, windows, different things. And in reworking that, what he's proposing is it's a 20-foot bump up.
Hold on, what, I don't understand
I
that.
can answer that.
Yeah,
Well, when he said, why don't we see if we can put a septic system in, I didn't think that, we could, but we can. And there's no bathroom, there's an outhouse. So I wanna put an addition on, I'll have a bathroom. When you look at the plumbing code, it requires you to have a kitchen,
yeah,
a bathroom with a toilet and a shower. Right now, the bedroom is in the living room and it's on the porch.
well, it's because it was a seasonal property, now you're trying to make it a full year round, is that?
Well, I'm not sure, I wanna make it, so it's, right now, it's, it's a cottage. Whether, you just can't build a cottage anymore, you just can't build a camp. Once you put the plumbing in, you can't get a CO without plumbing,
Yeah,
and without heat. There's a minimum size requirement for a bedroom. So we made that addition as small as we possibly could to meet the building code as far as the size of the bedroom
Yeah.
and the bathroom.
Sure.
And, you've got the energy code now, so it's gotta be insulated. You've gotta put, low heat type windows in.
yeah.
And I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do with it. Right now, it's just gonna be a guest cottage and, probably just use it in the summer, but the code calls me, I have to do all this other stuff to meet the energy code.
Well, that's because you're adding to a property that's technically a cottage. That's what's driving that, right? I mean, I know the code, we know each other's
I
background.
know.
So, okay, so that's a whole different discussion. You're taking something and you're making it something that currently it isn't. So that's what's driving the bathrooms and all that stuff, so that's a whole different conversation. Point to me the 60 no build.
So this marked in yellow or the orange dashed line, it kind of goes through here. Yeah,
That's the 60 no build,
correct.
and we're showing it pretty sizable.
What's that other piece right there? What's the other one? What does that say right there?
That's the little one?
Yeah, no, the other
Existing
one.
shed,
That shed's there, yeah.
that shed's
Yeah,
there.
so this is as Bob mentioned, there's an existing outhouse here, and there's an existing shed.
Go ahead.
So just a few clarifying questions. Does the well have to be there? Is that the only place the well can be?
So one of the reasons why that was selected for the well site is obviously we gotta be able to get, first and foremost, 100 feet from the leaching area. Secondly, we gotta be able to get a well rig to be able to access the property. Right now, the existing driveway, they say, kind of comes down through here. So in working with that and trying to get the offset to the existing building, the property line, is the rig could basically back up through this existing area here and set up to drill the well there. As you look at potential options, it could slide this way, but again, it just makes it difficult. We're right up against that 30-foot here, to be able to get the rig in there. There's also an existing open trench.
Right.
It's almost like the foundation drain around the existing foundation is daylights. It's a direct swale that goes down into the pond here. So basically, we can avoid all that and get the access for the rig over there.
Keep going.
Yeah, I have another clarifying question. So, out of all the places you could put the addition, you put it between the 30 and the 60, instead of outside of the 60, which I'm just asking why not? Why can't you put it up there?
So this pink line is the existing property line.
Yep,
And so the setback is 20 feet, which right now to this structure is 22. So it's pre-existing non-conforming along this long line here.
Yeah.
So really, the
That's
option,
a
I think,
proposed
is.
structure, right? The garage?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So in order to get the tanks and everything in to pick up the plumbing from the house to come up to the septic, really the only, I think what you're saying is, if they expand it this way, we just have to find a different solution for these tanks.
Right.
And again, it's sloping down, it needs to be in the low point, so, that would probably drive the tanks And this will
We
keep.
just don't wanna be in the 60.
He's there.
Oh, I know,
Well, the vast
I know,
majority of it.
we spent a lot of time on your property, so
Let me
we
add,
get it.
let me add something else here. If you, and I think, right now, the existing house has a basement, which, you know, many seasonal properties don't have a basement, and it's got a walk-in cellar right here, so there's a great big hole right here.
Yep.
You're walking in here. So, my feeling was to put this here, it wouldn't have much more of an effect of what's there now, because I'm gonna be filling this hole in with basically a basement. And,
I don't agree.
you know, there's already a hole there now. I'll be getting rid of the outhouse, which is in the no disturb zone, that'll be gone. So I thought it would be a good, compromise.
He's still in the 60 foot.
Yeah, I mean, we've gone over this many times.
I
But
don't
I
agree.
thought the bylaws, your conservation
We have-
bylaws said,
Yep, we have the
the
jurisdiction.
existing house is in a buildable zone.
But you're technically not in a buildable zone, you're in the 60-foot no build. At one point, it might have been, but right now, all your proposed is in that 60 no build.
Right, but it says, the bylaw says if the existing house is in a buildable zone, you can add onto it. to a no build zone.
I don't know if it really says you can add on to it.
It says if you can put an addition on, but it can only be done once, and there's a restriction, it has to be on the deed, up to the discretion of the Conservation Commission.
Key, up to discretion of the Conservation
But
Commission.
the discretion is to put it on the deed, it's not, I don't think the discretion is, because you can't, I mean, the house was built
Yep,
in 1930, and I mean, it was everybody's dream to be next to a little babbling brook up until a couple of years ago, and now we're right near a babbling brook.
yeah.
I mean, that's why it's there. If this was right now, and I bought that land without anything on it, and I wanted to put something there, I could see, you could say, you can't do it, but, you know, when you came up with all these laws and all these rules and laws have wordage in there that allows for,
At our jurisdiction, at our discretion. Every one of them, I read that thing 1,000 times.
okay,
There's some clarification in there, I agree with you. And like I said, we spent a lot of time out there with what you did the last time, but now, I mean, it's just getting to be, the lot is what it is, it's surrounded by wetlands. It's at a tough location, in my opinion, it's being over improved. By the way, I think I would try to do the same thing if I were you. But I can't sit there and say, yeah, we're gonna build, and there's already a hole there, so why don't we just make the hole
what I
bigger
was
in the
gonna
60?
suggest is a site walkthrough,
Yeah, I've been out there a couple times.
so you can take a look at it.
Yeah, I've been out there a bunch, over the years, for the other things you've done,
I realize.
yeah. So I know the site, and we can, Doug sent some pictures again too. Go ahead.
I mean, my question is, can you extend it out of the 60? The question's not whether you can extend it, it's can you do it the right way out of the 60? And my guess is that you can, if you
Including
want
the,
to.
yeah, and, I mean, we're literally gonna drill a well in the no 60, no disturb.
Well, the other reason why we decided to go out this way was the roof line is going this way. This roof line goes this way and this roof line goes this way, so this would be the, if you were gonna put an addition on, this is where you put it. I mean, it would be, right now, if you moved it over here, the kitchen's right here, the kitchen would be in the back of the house instead of in the front of the house, it would just be,
Yeah, and this lot here, you understand, our side, we can't go off of what the typical layout of a house is and what it should be with the addition. It's just not, and again, valid point, but in the conservation world, we don't look at all that stuff. We don't go, we wanna walk into our kitchen, not into our living room, and we wanna have the bathroom off the back of the house, and we don't pay attention to that. It's not what we do here. We protect the wetlands, and the 30 and the 60, that's what we've always done. I mean, we've talked about this, Duncan, I don't know how many years you've been on, but
A long
I
time.
think I've been around 15 now, and I've never let anything ever happen in the 60.
So just,
This isn't maintenance here, this is construction now. As long as your foundation's
I
down,
was,
gotta get in
I was
there.
under the impression that this meeting was just for a new septic system.
Well,
Well, no, I mean, now I was under the wrong impression, I realize that now.
Well, they're
I'm not-
doing that
I'm
because
not-
it's the only place they
I'm
can put it.
not, right now, I am not in favor of that, I will vote against that. Unless you can come up with some other, to turn it around, do some magic, I don't care, but it's not gonna be built in the 60-foot, just no.
So in terms of,
You know,
yeah,
now, wait a minute, and if we, you know, if we vote against you, you certainly can appeal this to the state, and then we'll appeal their appeal, whatever, but it's not gonna go.
yeah, no, I think, I mean, we're here to have a
Yeah,
work session.
yeah.
And figure out something that works, and,
Yeah.
and to answer the question is, as we were kind of looking at this, is obviously, you know, we've got the 60-foot here.
Yeah.
You know, certainly there's this portion of the property that's outside of it, so what would that entail to add, you know, come this way?
Yeah.
You know, provided, you know, you can work with the existing roof lines, you know, what we'd have to do is relocate the tankage and the components for the septic system. So in lieu of, you know, the structure, you know, we can't change the fact that half the house is already in.
No, that's
Right,
right.
we understand that.
You know, so to move that over here, essentially what we're doing is now we'll be moving the tanks for the septic over into this area.
Can't do it.
That's the only place you can move it?
Elevation wise, is that why you have to?
Yeah, based on the elevation.
Oh, or you
And
put a pump,
groundwater.
or you can put a pump in.
Well, it's already,
Or can't you pump it even, can't you put another pump there because of the elevations? We don't want anything in the 60s. Nothing.
Well, you know, wait a minute. We can talk about this forever.
Well, we're just trying to talk.
No,
to
no,
her.
I'm just saying, I mean, you know,
so I understand, yeah, the 60, clearly for the structure and for the point of this discussion. In terms of the tankage, you know, based on where the lot line is here, you know, would have to get it somewhere over in this area, down in the low spot where by gravity, we can come out of the building and access the septic tank. And again, where it's high groundwater, you know, part of the health requirements are the invert elevations where the pipes come into those tanks are supposed to be
Yeah.
a foot above high groundwater, and, you know, we're already in a high groundwater situation there. So, you know, we can't really drive them further into the hill.
Can you go up
Yeah.
towards the property
That's what I
line?
was wondering, can you?
So, this is a 10 scale plan, so
Yeah.
we're probably about, you know, we'd have to get a waiver from Board of Health to the property line offset.
But you're technically asking us for a waiver to build on our 60.
Right, so what would be up against is the tanks need to be a minimum of 10 feet away from the building. So, you know, when you take that 10 feet, we're essentially, you know, we run out of room real quick to put that tank.
What's more important, a natural resource or just putting tanks up above? And we're here to protect the natural resource in the wetlands. I mean,
Right,
that's all we care about. If you need a variance from another board,
and truth be told, honestly, with this system, you know, it's an improvement in an environmental.
oh,
sensitive
that's
area.
it, it isn't, I
You know,
agree
so
with
that's
you.
where, you know, we're trying to balance on, obviously, there's provisions, you know, Wetland Protection Act where, you know, we're looking and using the Board of Health as a guideline, you know, and clearly we can say go anywhere and get a variance, but, you know, we're trying to, or mandated to adhere to that health regulation as much as we can, which is what we've shown.
but that same health ordinance is the same thing that we're trying to do on our side. So we gotta find a happy medium somewhere in between. I'm fine going out there and looking at it again and helping in any way we can and being flexible, but I mean, that's just literally in our no build, and there's another deck that's proposed, and the well that's there, and it's almost like, well, we don't care about that zone. And I mean, this isn't like we have a little wetlands and there's 100 acres of forest, this is right next to the lake, which is even more important to protect the natural resources and that drainage and the filtration that happens in that area. Now we're going in and we're gonna just modify all that. We're gonna suck water out of it. I guess gotta believe there's another way of doing it and still getting what you want.
Or maybe you can.
So in
So
terms,
some variation of it has to happen, I mean,
so in terms of the bylaw, you know, the tanks obviously are not structured, so, you know.
I'm still gonna say it's no build, no disturb, right, in the 60?
Yeah.
So the tanks are.
30-foot no disturb,
It's the 60, I just think we need to stay out of both. Again, this isn't like there's acreage behind them, there's the lake there. That is very important to that lake to have that filtration. You're trying to weasel in between all this wetlands and build something, and we're saying fine, but it's gotta be within those constraints. You have any input on this?
No, like the main thing was really the stream and the bump off from the stream. I know there's some talk of
This is right. Did you
the,
see this?
stream changing course, you know, I can't necessarily speak to that just based on what I saw, but as the stream is now, the 30 to 60 are definitely the most kind of important buffers that we have.
So Doug, the stream that you took a picture of
Yeah.
recently, is that right at this green line here? Or is it,
Yeah, so the stream kind, like,
I mean, it
these
was a
first
flowing
two
stream,
flags
the
are
picture you
essentially
showed.
top the bank.
Yeah.
And then it goes down, there's a little pond, and then from, it's essentially a man-made little pond, and from there it kind of fans out and kind of.
That's what I remember. So it's on this side of the green?
Yeah, so obviously the drain is coming down, the pipe empties right about here, and then it goes to that pond,
Yeah.
and it fans out down in through, within the limits of the BBW.
How many bathrooms do you have? One? Full shower, everything?
I mean, just to ask, I just remember this weird ditch, right, I mean, that's just a basement drain ditch?
Yeah,
It was
so
like running water.
it's a ditch that kind of comes through.
Yeah, I think that's more than a basement. You have water, it seemed to me like it was flow when we were there that time, remember? I saw full-on flow coming out of
Yeah,
there.
it was
It's almost passing through, it's not coming out of the basement. It's
Yeah,
not like it's groundwater leaching out.
based on where we've seen groundwater up
1930s
there, it
version
wouldn't,
of
it
a
wouldn't surprise
foundation.
me.
It was
Like
all
a-
hand dug,
Yeah.
and
But now it seems to be more of a flow,
we
right?
proposed to clean it out for
Yeah.
maintenance, because it's full of, there's 2
Sediment.
feet of pine needles and leaves in it over the last 60 years.
Yeah,
And previously, we had proposed to put a 4-inch pipe in, and you approved it.
yeah, because that's a maintenance situation, but is it flow of the nature taking over the space, or is it water coming into the basement that's coming out of the basement?
Based on where high groundwater is there, I mean, it could certainly be a combination where, you know, the foundation is probably within the high groundwater, so
Yeah,
it's clearly
That's
gonna
kinda what I
flow
remember.
into the basement, yeah. So by putting a more formal drainage system, foundation footing drain there, and hard piping it, you'll be able to kind of pick it up and intercept that high groundwater.
so you never did that one we approved already, that drain?
That was peeled by the butter.
Yeah, so sorry, just to clear up that, like, so
Yeah, let's-
the RDA was filed and nothing was done because it got appealed by a butter.
Yep,
So we went out with DEP, and then ultimately what they said was, there's enough work that needs to happen that we think you need to do a notice of intent. So it's not a situation where we're coming back and asking for more.
yeah, because I do.
It's
believe the
really
drain
saying,
needs to be
okay,
there.
if we've gotta do a notice of intent, you know, let's incorporate the septic system, get everything here in one sweep, you know, so we can do the work that you originally asked for, along with, you know, getting a septic system and a well on the property.
Why can't you put the well down here someplace?
That's the way the
Oh,
wetlands are.
that's-
Yeah,
This is
right,
all
yeah,
that's
that's-
there,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you know.
No, I mean, I can't sit here and go trying to figure it out, but you wanna go back out there, meet us up here and see what he's got for ideas, but I just, you gotta pull it out of the 6 feet. I don't see another way of doing it. I mean, if you, and I'm not here to tell what's more important to you or not, but if you didn't do that garage on the side over there and you turn your septic, everything will be out of the way.
I mean, more than half of it's between 30 and 60 there. I just, we
Just
can
to
never
kind
do that.
Yeah, just to answer the question of the orientation of the septic system, so the contour of the land is basically going this way.
Yep,
So the system, in order, we're already having an issue, that's why we're going with pressure distribution style system, is because the size, the height of the mound is so high that we're having trouble keeping the fill on the property. So if we were to spin this now, you know, you're basically going against contours.
you can do it
The
though.
fill would be a lot
Like I
higher,
said.
there'll probably be retaining walls and more structures to do that, yeah. So by running it with the contours here, you know, we're able to grade this down and do it without a retaining wall.
Yeah, just give us a couple different variations of other ideas. And send them to Doug, I mean, no need to keep going through a notice of intent. let's just keep going through some options, and then we can, once we agree to one or two options, or think one of them too, then come back. And make it, that way we're trying to work with you guys the best way to do it. But I
Well,
just-
I've worked with you before. and-
Yeah, you always been great, we spent a lot of time with, last time David and I were out there, you spent hours with us, walking around, so I appreciate that.
The garage is in the 62.
Yeah, the corner,
Which one are you talking about?
Is that a garage right there?
yeah,
The big one?
Yeah.
That's proposed.
Yeah.
Well, that's wrong too,
The corner, yeah.
and you haven't mentioned that at all.
we just gotta
Yeah.
rework it, see what
Yeah.
you can do. And you got a proposed deck on there, I remember that from the last time, right? The deck was there before? You had proposed that last time?
Why don't you eliminate the garage?
Well, that's what we were talking about, but,
But, wait a minute.
they gotta tell us what they wanna do,
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
those constraints, give us some options. All right, everything else?
Nope.
Do you have anything else, Bob?
No,
Anybody in the audience have any questions, comments?
I do.
Your name is?
Jennifer Matson, I represent Mass Audubon.
You get that? Yeah, how you doing?
Doing well, thank you. Okay.
Come on up.
Right on me. I'm gonna hit my head on the TV.
Yeah.
Watch your head.
There you go.
So, hi, I'm Jen Matson. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm the Regional Director for Mass Audubon. I oversee and manage Lake Wampanoag Wildlife Sanctuary. So that's what I'm here representing today. I just wanted to say thank you so much for notifying us. I know it's required, but we appreciate it still. And for sharing the notice of intent. We went out last week to take a look with some of our senior conservation ecologists, and I'm here with some of their remarks, so forgive me if I'm making sure I get the lingo right. So one of the things, one, we appreciate all the comments that were made before, and we know that this project is really trying to abide within the directives, so we appreciate that. One of the things we have some concerns about is the actual wetland delineation in the report. We think that might need a review of that. I know there are a few letters that are coming in for comment towards that as well. So
What did you think is wrong with the delineation?
we don't think that it is far enough, and that one of the things is that the plot lines, plot allocations, are not provided on the plan set, so it's hard to kind of see where does that go. When we were out there, just having the snow around, it's hard to figure out where the plot lines are. Just to understand if the line is accurate, that's all. So I think that updated reports would be helpful.
can I respond to that?
Let her just go through the rest and we'll.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So one of the things too is that, the plans don't include the stream. We recognize that it is referred to as an intermittent stream in the plans and in the NOI. Our senior conservation ecologists have actually, through years of, data collection and observations and reporting on the sanctuary, have labeled that a perennial stream. I don't know if that makes any difference to all of you, but that is something that how we classify it. The way that we interpret this NOI does not comply with the Gardner's Wetlands Ordinance. Mainly, corner of the proposed garage, as we talked about, and a lot of the other additions, are within that no-build zone, which we talked about. So, one of the things we do request that if this is a consideration, which it doesn't sound like, to grant a variance on this, we would request that there be substantial mitigation efforts. Perhaps permanent conservation of a similar acreage somewhere else, but it sounds like there's a revision anyway, so just wanted to put that out there.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Lafayette.
The delineation of the wetlands was all marked by Brandon with blue ribbons. And I drove number 8 rebars in all the way along on every point that's on there. So it is well delineated, and it's number 8 rebars, 1-inch rods, about this high, with blue tape on it.
I think she means where the line actually is, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't mean, she knows that she's saying it could be over a couple of feet more
Yeah.
potentially.
Yeah.
Well,
It's hard to do in that area, I've walked that,
It is hard, for sure.
and did they enter the property and really take a look at it? Probably not.
We looked at it from the road and
Yeah.
from our area, we didn't wanna
Yeah.
trespass or anything, so.
And you took soil samples and all that stuff?
Yes.
Where's that
Yeah.
report?
Everything that we prepared is filed with the NOI.
Do you have that report, the soils report? Let me see that. Okay, thanks. What else, you have
And
anything else?
certainly,
No, that's it, thank you.
portions of it are a difficult area. There's a couple things at play. In the area, kind of by this existing shed, that just shallow depth to ledge. So obviously, you've got a lot of bedrock, you've got high groundwater. When we were out there through the process with DEP, we had a field person from DEP, as well as at that time, we had one of the abutters consultants on there. You know, everybody's digging, taking soil samples, and through that process, it wasn't, oh, clearly this is, you know, we didn't move any flags, you know, and at the time it was an RDA, so, you know, we weren't really exploring, it wasn't an ANRAD or anything like that.
Okay, because I
Some
mean,
time was definitely spent.
if I went out there and did a soil sample, I'd find it hard to delineate a line, having walked that. That was something I thought when I first went out there, like, to delineate this line is gonna be very impossible.
It gets difficult, especially in this area here, because as you have a hand auger, I mean, you're either hitting ledge, there's rocks, you know, where we could get through, we analyzed the soil, we identified colors using Munsell, we went through that whole process, which is, that information is what's in those observation soils. And obviously, we didn't, you know, we kind of stopped in the middle here. The only other thing I wanted to say, part of our presentation, is a portion of this property is within mapped habitat, priority habitat, so we filed with Fish and Wildlife, and we did get a letter back saying that the project as proposed now would not result in a take of habitat.
So in your report, in this appendix G, it has like other indicators of hydrology, and you have like X's in them. It says depth to free water and observation hole blank, depth to soil, saturation in observation, you have a check, but there's no number here. Drainage patterns in DW, there's nothing there. Water stained leaves, yes, but there's no notes. I mean, why are there no notes on here, elevations and stuff? I'd like a little bit more, you know, complete report, so we can verify that line. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, we can certainly add more information. Some of those secondary indicators, if we're looking at the system, obviously, like, you know, for example, drainage pattern. You know, we've got an intermittent stream that comes through here, so what we're saying is, you know, we've got an intermittent stream.
Yeah.
You know, and clearly that's where we start with our observation test points within the wetland. We identified hydric soils, and then we did transects out from there until upland non-hydric soils were identified.
The last time you and I walked, David, I thought there were areas where you gained land, and then other areas that you probably would lose. That was just walking and kicking around, and, because you can tell underneath, it's a mess, but on the soil descriptions on here, I'd like to see a little bit more information on this.
Sure.
You got in here, what's it say, no groundwater observed saturation soil to depth of 22 feet? Where is that location?
We did locate those points, so we can add those to the plan. They were on the previous plan that we had done, because when we did those forms, we actually submitted that data back to DEP with those locations on there. So we can certainly provide that. I think we even have pictures of the soil samples.
Yeah, I mean, there's some pictures here, but I don't see that. I think these are the ones you had used originally, because it shows some of the trees you wanted to take out when David and I went that Saturday. We gotta get updated information on this plan.
Bob, do you have any more questions on the 60-foot or anything in the bylaw?
No,
Okay, anybody else have anything else? Anybody else in the audience have any questions or comments?
Well, I guess the only thing I can say is I'm gonna butter and I approve it. and he's my brother, and he's approval, he's in a butter too, so it's 2 against 2.
You gotta keep an eye on that guy. All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is, North County Land Trust, and they said they pulled out.
She called me just today and said they are straight up canceling the project. They said they do not see it as a possibility that they're going to be able to fundraise sufficient funds in order to proceed with the job as described.
This is,
Yeah, that's 2 keys, that's too bad, cause that would've been a nice
That would've been
improvement.
nice, yeah.
so they pulled,
Yeah,
did you get additional notice? That they,
You should probably get that in writing that they're pulling.
yeah, she did, I have that.
That's good, I mean, I would've supported that because it really improved that
oh,
area.
yeah,
It's ready to go.
And are they having any fundraising drives for this? Find out if they
No,
have any
I
drives. I
Tried
don't know
to
if you
ask a
legally
couple
do that,
questions, I asked,
but I'd
like,
support it.
is this like a 3, 4, 5, 6 month kind of thing, or is it like a 1, 2 year thing, or indefinitely you're looking to put it off? And she was like, I don't even know that.
Okay.
So, because I told her, I was like, you know, these are valid for up to, 3 years out, so I mean, if you're able to,
Yeah, it's a good
right.
point, though.
year and a half, then you're still in a year and a half, like, essentially 2 summers to do this job, mostly just grading, I mean, that's possible, she was like, no, we're not even really gonna kind of swing, so.
Alright, that's too bad, cause that would've been a nice improvement in that space. So, going down to old business, there's no update on the third-party review, right?
I kind of started to get the ball rolling on that, we got the check at the end of the week.
Yeah.
Last week, I had to kind of chase phone numbers around today to get in touch with someone at Team Bond. Then I reached out to the, Fieldstone Consultancy.
Yeah, and you told them already?
Yeah,
Okay, good.
so I just had a conversation with them, I was gonna see if we could, potentially authorize a,
wanna hear that?
authorize a notice to proceed as had been done in the past with prior third-party reviews, but obviously without a quorum, we would be unable to do so.
Okay,
So, I guess next time.
alright, then 170 Mill Street, there's no update on that?
No, I tried to do some digging, and I was just told the guy is like almost impossible to reach.
Well, I think you need to go back to the Mass
He was
Dam.
here tonight,
Was he?
that was the engineer,
Yeah, but it's not him really, though, he
yeah.
knows.
No, but he's the one that was, he's the one that came before us.
Yeah,
He
I heard you ask him.
Yeah.
So I think you need to go back to Mass Dam Safety and say, hey, could you send another request out to the applicant?
I mean, the applicant never did any of it, but he was told to do.
No, it's, I think, set to expire in,
Oh, that's,
this fall,
yeah, because he never,
like October of '24.
so let's not let it expire and just keep reaching him. If you can't find that old email from, Mass Dam Safety, let me know, I might have it.
Okay.
You probably don't have it. Do you have old files? Or
I have old files, I don't have I don't have any email from her.
Could you ask Trevor to dig them up?
Yeah.
You're supposed to have them.
I haven't,
Okay.
Yeah, I think I have too, but I'm saying he doesn't have any of her old
Yeah,
emails.
yeah.
Anything that was sent to just her that has not been already forwarded to me, I don't have.
yeah, it was a letter set out with timelines, what they
Yeah.
were supposed to do, and he never did any of it.
All right, then, under professional development, it says none, but we have the MACC coming up in March. Anybody interested in going?
Yeah, I would look to.
Well, we can't vote on it, but move forward, to get it lined up for you and I to go, unless somebody else is interested
I
in
just
going.
can't, unfortunately.
That's fine. And, obviously, we wanted to talk about the drones, and they do have a class there, so we can hold off on that.
Yeah.
But as you saw, we were all interested in it. We all-
Yeah,
that was
no,
great. We talked about it over the
If you want a
years.
demonstration, I can do it.
Yeah, we have it right at work, yeah.
Yeah.
So they've offered too, he's done a
Yeah.
rough job, so.
Yeah.
I've printed out some materials, just been kind of like reviewing the,
Yep,
regulations, and you have to take an exam with the FAA, and it doesn't seem that crazy, but just
okay.
been kind of studying.
You can't fly that though, only him.
They can
You're
be,
not allowed to fly it though, only he can fly
it
it.
can be 30,000.
Oh, no,
Like a drone, a good one?
Yeah, I know,
Crazy.
but you know what though, you gotta spend, I mean, you probably up there too, right?
Yeah, yeah,
She spent,
I don't know,
Yeah.
I have no clue.
he said you could get a decent one for around 2,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's getting better.
Next meeting is on the 26th of February. Anybody have any other new business they wanna discuss?
Yeah, Mill Street again.
I know, that's what we just talked about, I'll
Just-
find those emails.
Just as of today, we had received a final, request for certificate of compliance for 49 Brook Lane. I think I went over that with you.
Yep.
You briefly.
Yeah.
That's that subdevelopment in between, Willis and, like, next to Dunn, that kind of
Yeah,
giant
yeah,
area. And it was like the original order of conditions from 03, 04, you know, some issues. And so each one of these houses is under the purview of this original order.
You talked with the law firm, right?
Yes, yeah, so they sent that in, I walked them through that. And I would just be looking to send them a letter, just essentially explaining this, the title company.
Because we'll sign off on it, we
Yeah,
can't do it tonight, we couldn't.
Yeah.
We could have done it
Yeah,
tonight.
yeah, it didn't even make the deadline anyway.
So we're fine,
And I told them that too, I
Yeah.
was like, you're not gonna be on until the 26th, just whenever.
Yeah, deal with us.
Anything else?
No,
Oh, how about the website?
oh, yeah, it's been kinda making it look nice and pretty for everyone, just kinda having some good information, hopefully for people to.
I thought it was already on there, I guess it wasn't.
No, there's some some dead end web pages that just said like, you know,
That looks good.
work in progress,
Yeah,
kinda,
Nice job.
want to do that, oh, business cards too, so.
Wow, did you get that one?
So,
Didn't have one,
Yeah, me have one.
Intentionally for you.
I'm sorry.
So,
All right, anybody in the audience have anything? How you doing? Nothing, good? All right, someone
Can I
like
just ask
that,
real quick, do we need to do anything about him getting a laptop or?
we can't vote on anything anyway, so.
True.
I already told Trevor I'd rather prefer a laptop.
Yeah. Just gonna be.
And I'm pretty sure we bought one not too long ago,
we did,
so.
There's a laptop kicking around, you,
yeah, this one's,
this.
That's ours, right?
yeah,
It's conservation.
Oh,
yeah.
Is,
I thought you were borrowing
does it
it.
do his job?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Why are we worried about a laptop then?
No, he wanted to get a, Trevor wanted him to have a desktop.
I got a new one,
And I'm like, nobody buys desktops anymore, it's just not.
there was some weird, like that, remember that tech issue with the Outlook, but I didn't have any problems then, so.
No, nothing? That's weird.
How
I'm
are
not,
you
I'm not
gonna
worried about
know
it,
how-
no.
Yeah, there's no, she sent a reminder to the mayor's office, and I'll send another one. All right, someone like to make a motion to end tonight's meeting?
The minutes?
We can't vote on them. We don't have a quorum.
Yeah.
So, I don't even know, do we have?
Normally, we do a better job than we did tonight. Talking to the lady.
Oh, I know, if she was on already, it would be helpful right now.
It'd be relevant.
Yeah, so we're
Gonna
gonna,
mention that.
Oh, I'm so
I
sorry.
couldn't vote.
I can plug my ears if you want.
someone, we can't even motion to end the hearing, so we're just gonna end the night, end the hearing. Thank
Do
you.
you people use Strong?